Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are well and I hope you guys are staying safe. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make this gorgeous Halter Neck Blouse, and if it sounds like something you're interested in, definitely keep watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do well to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss out on awesome content that I make for you guys. Alright guys, so to make this blouse, you need the bodice, your basic bodice. You also need your basic skirt block. You'd also need, the knowledge of how to join the basic bodice and a basic skirt. But don't worry, I've got you guys covered. Go ahead and watch the videos that I've linked in the icons above, as well as those in the description box below. I've got a video on the bodice pattern, the skirt pattern, and how to combine these two together. So now, next thing you want to do is you want to start with the back piece, which I've got on the table. And then you want to make sure that the waistline is visible. So it's not a new waistline, it's the waistline that you have when you join both of them together. And I've gone ahead to highlight that in a red marker. Next, you want to get your back dart and you want to basically extend that all the way to the bottom. So what I've done is I've used my pattern master as a set square, and I've gone ahead to extend that line all the way to the bottom. So the next thing we want to do is we want to find the dart excess, and to do that you want to take the measurement of the horizontal line, which is the waistline that you have on the pattern, and then you also want to take a quarter of your waist measurement, and then you want to do the deductions. So the waist measurement that we have on paper, the horizontal line, minus a quarter of your true waist measurement, whatever you get there is going to be your dart excess. You put half of that, whatever you get, onto the left, and half of whatever you get onto the right, and then that way you now have your new darts. So go ahead and draw in the dart as shown. You basically want to draw it onto the end of the paper, which is the blouse length, and onto the top where your dart starts originally, and that way you have your new dart. So guys, that's the new dart. Next, you want to lower the armhole by 2 centimeters, and then you want to go ahead and draw the back neckline. So essentially, we've marked the 2 centimeters down, and you want to draw the back neckline. For the back neckline, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. You can have it straight, you can have it slant. I decided to go with something a bit more slant, and as you can see, I've drawn that. Now, once you do that, just cut out the neckline, and at this point, you're basically done with the back piece. Now, I know some of you are wondering, like, what if I don't want my Halter Neck blouse to be fitted? What if I want something a bit free? I'm going to do a video next week, and that one's going to have like a free Halter Neck blouse, nothing fitted. However, if you wanted it fitted, this one is for you. But don't worry, you can still watch if you didn't want it fitted. Now, we're going to move on to the front piece. On the front piece, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we're going to start by finding the waistline. It's already there, just make it more visible, which is what I've done with the red marker. Now, the next bit of it is for us to extend the dart line. Now remember that when I say extend, that's because there's already a dart line, the center line. It's already there on the bodice. I'm just going ahead to extend that. Now we want to find the dart excess. So measure the current horizontal line that you have, and then you want to take away a quarter of your waist measurement from that. So if you have the current horizontal line as 10 and your quarter of your waist measurement is 8, then you have a dart excess of 2 centimeters. Go ahead and put 1 centimeter to the left of the midline, and then 1 centimeter to the right of the midline. I hope that explanation helps, but if it doesn't help, don't worry. Like I said, I've got you covered, and in the video where I show you how to combine the bodice to the skirt, I kind of explain this in details. So now that that's done, the next bit for us to do is for us to mark the our empire length, right? So for the empire length, you want to get a set square, or you want to get a long ruler that has markings, and I'm using this ruler as a set square, and I'm going to mark my point where my empire length is. If you're wondering what exactly is an empire length, well, that is your underbust length, right? It's the actual term for it is called the empire length. So the underbust is the empire, and the empire circumference is the the underbust circumference, essentially. So now that I've marked my empire length, I went ahead to square it out, which is what I've done, and I'm just labeling it now so that we know what line we're working with. Now, the essence of this empire length is for us to have a snatched fit. At the empire length where you have your dart lines, you want to go ahead and extend that by 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters, depending on how snatched you want. So you already have the dart legs there. It's a bit faint because it's in a pen, but we have it there. So go ahead and extend that by 1 centimeter to the left and 1 centimeter to the right, or 1.5 if that works for you. Now that that's done, we're going to get our French curve. And we're going to go ahead from the new line, so the marking we've made on the empire length, and we're going to go ahead and draw a curve. Now, it's a bit weird here, I don't know how to explain it, but you see the position of my curve. What the curve is doing is it's drawing a nice curve that looks like the breast or the boobs to join the empire length all the way to the breast apex, which is the bust point, and doing the same thing all the way to the waistline as well. So like I said, it's a bit difficult to explain, but if you just watch the hand movement, you will be able to figure it out. The essence of this is for us to have like a cup for your breast to sit in, and just so that the blouse is actually nicely fitted. So basically we've kind of made a breast cup, and then you can already see it from the paper that it's already protruding, and this fits nicely. However, I decided that because this is like, you know, a regular casual blouse, there's no need for it to be so fitted like an Asoebi. So what I decided to do was just do a slant line from the empire length all the way to the waist, right? So I just did a straight line linking it as opposed to a curved line. With the curved line, it'll be a bit more snatched, but with the straight line, it will just be slightly, you know, just slightly curved, just regularly fitted basically. Now that is done, you guessed right, the next thing to do is to lower the armhole by 2 centimeters. So whatever we do onto the back, we're going to do onto the front, right? Potato, potato. So moving on to the next step, the next thing we want to do is we want to close our shoulder dart, and to do that we're going to do the slash and spread method. So go ahead and slash the waist dart, and when you slash the waist dart, you want to close your shoulder dart immediately and hold it in place with some masking tape. Now if you notice, the shoulder dart is closed and then the waist dart kind of just opens up a little bit more. What we've done is that we've transferred our dart, and this is a part of a process known as dart manipulation. Now the next thing you want to do is from the shoulder neck point, you want to measure 5 centimeters inward, and that will be the width of your neck. Now with a French curve or like another curve, you want to go ahead and mark, draw in the new armhole curve, and it will be from the 5 centimeter mark up until the 2 centimeter that we lowered around the armhole. So draw in your new armhole curve, and this is what it should look like. Next step is for us to draw the neckline. So whether you wanted it to be a round neck or you wanted it to be a slant neck, it doesn't matter. Whatever neckline that you want, go ahead and draw that. For this, I'm working with a slant neck, and because it's a slant neck, you need it to be as deep as possible. So I went ahead to draw a line that is close to the bust point, and then I went ahead to draw it all the way to the shoulder neck point. For those who don't know, where your shoulder and your neck meets is called the shoulder neck point. So I refer to that often, but that is your shoulder neck point. So this is the slant line I've drawn, and I know it looks deep, but I promise you guys it's not deep. Now the next thing for us to do is to extend the neck point so that we can have our rope for the Halter Neck Blouse. To do that, you want to get another piece of paper, and you want to use a masking tape to join that onto your bodice. Now after joining that, we're going to take a long ruler and we're going to extend the neckline. Okay, so just make sure that it flows. It doesn't have to be straight. As you can see, I'm not making it straight, I'm just making sure that it flows. After doing that, you want to determine how wide you want the rope to be. So I decided that even though the rope is 5 centimeters wide around the shoulder, I didn't want it to be 5 centimeters wide at the end. So I decided to do, you know, mark how wide I wanted the rope to be, and that's what I used as a guideline. So one mistake that I made is that for this rope, I think I went with the rope being about 14 or 13 inches, and I found out that that's a bit too short. Obviously I should have figured. I recommend nothing less than 22 or 25 inches. So at least 22 inches, and then you can go up to maybe like 25-30 inches depending on how long you want the rope to be. So go ahead and mark your rope as you should, and then link it back to the armhole, which is what I've done. When that is done, go ahead and cut out that part of the bodice. Don't cut out the whole thing yet, just the rope part, so that you can get rid of the excess paper. Now this project, we've had to do a lot of things. Like I said, I'm going to show you guys how to make a much simpler Halter Neck blouse, but this one is like, you know, the fitted one, so we've got to do a lot of things. So I'll go ahead and cut out, you know, following the curves that we have around the bust point, and cut it up until the apex. So the apex is the bust point. Don't cut it beyond that point. Just, you know, follow my instructions, please. That would help. So go ahead and cut it up onto that point. And then the next thing we want to do is we're going to create a style line. So that this is easy to sew when we want to cut out the pieces together, we have two options. We can cut along the masking tape line, which is our regular style line, or we can make a new style line. So to make a new style line, you can decide where you want the line to be. I've opted for the line being around mid armhole, so go ahead and mark where you want the line to be, and for me, like I said, it's the mid armhole points. So from the bust point, you want to draw a line up until where you want it to be. So I've gone ahead to draw the line from the bust point, and as you can see, I went ahead to cut it out. So right now we have all our pattern pieces. We have the center front piece, which is the part that has the long rope. We have the side front piece, which is the part that I cut out after. We have the center back, and then we have the side back pieces. After this process, by this point, you should have all 4 pieces. We're going to get to cutting now. So before we cut, I forgot to cut out the neckline. Go ahead and do that. Make sure all your pieces are cut out correctly. Now, starting with the center front piece, you want to make sure that that is pinned onto the center front of your fabric. And I know this looks like the front of my fabric, but I promise you it's the back part of it. Now, after pinning that onto the fabric, you want to go ahead and cut it out with all allowances included. I recommend an allowance of 1 inch at the bottom. I also recommend half an inch around the sides, half an inch around the rope, and then, half an inch around the neckline. For this, I used half an inch because even if I was going to use a lining or I was going to finish it off the way I did, half an inch will still work. Now go ahead and cut out the side front. For that, you want to use half an inch around the armhole, half an inch around the sides, and 1 inch around the base or around the bottom, and 1 inch around the side seam as well. So mark out all your sewing allowances and then go ahead and cut out the pieces as shown. Moving on to the back, we're going to go ahead and repeat the same thing. So go ahead and lay the back piece. Remember that for the back, you're going to cut 1 inch around the center back, 1 inch around the base, half an inch at the top, and half an inch at the side where it joins to the side seam. So go ahead and cut out all your allowances, and we're going to cut the last piece, which is the side back as well. Now that all the pieces have been cut, this is what it looks like. So these are the back pieces, and we also have the front pieces as well. So you should have 4 pieces. Like I said, if you want to do a lining, go ahead. If you want to line your blouse rather, go ahead and cut out the lining pieces as you would exactly for the front. But I wasn't going to line this, right? It was just a nice summer blouse. So go ahead and unpin the pieces, put the center front in the center, and then go ahead and position the side fronts as it should be. Starting from the bottom, we're going to work our way, pinning all the way to the top. You want to make sure you follow the curves and then you pin as gently and as, nicely as possible. So like I said, work your way gently all the way to the top, and you're going to repeat this for the other sides. It's important to note that when you're pinning, the right sides of both pieces are facing each other. So as you can see, the right side of the side piece is facing the right side of the center front piece. Now, after pinning both sides, go ahead and sew it on half an inch sewing allowance. And after sewing, this is what it looks like. As you can see, there's a natural breast cup there, and that's because of the shaping and the pattern that we used, right? So the next thing to do is to join the back pieces together in similar fashion. You want to make sure they're nicely positioned. If it helps, notch your center back so you can tell them apart, and then go ahead and unpin. After unpinning, you want to go ahead and pin the pieces together, making sure the right sides are facing each other and being careful not to confuse it yourself, okay? I know it's a bit confusing even for me, so please don't confuse yourself. So pin the pieces together as shown, and then go ahead and sew them in place on half an inch sewing allowance. As usual, I'm using my Janome HD9 sewing machine. Absolutely best of a sewing machine. Now that all the pieces have been done, the next thing to do is to join the sides of both pieces together. So you're joining the front and back pieces together, and this is what it looks like after joining. So basically at this point, your halter neck blouse is pretty much done. At the base, I like to do this thing where I kind of, shapen the base of the blouse a little bit by cutting off 1.5 inches all the way. So I cut off 1.5 inches at the side and kind of blend it in, as you can see. Just 1.5 inches at the side and blend it in. And then after doing that, you want to go ahead and hem the base. Now I know it looks a bit funny because it wasn't straight at the center, but don't worry, it works well for me. Now, one important thing to do is also you want to make sure you overlock your side seam. So I went ahead to overlock my side seam as well using my Janome machine, and then I went ahead to finish off the bottom hem. Now the next thing for us to do is to finish off the neckline as well as the armhole area, and to do that I'm going to be using bias strips. So like I said, if you were lining, you won't need to do this, but because I'm going to be using bias strips, I need to cut out my bias strips. I like to cut out bias strips from the fabric, and if you don't know how to do that, I have a short showing you guys how to do that. Again, if you want me to make a proper video on how to cut and join bias strip, let me know. After cutting all my bias strips, I needed to join them because they were in little bits and pieces. So I wanted to make them one whole one. So I put them against each other as shown, like an angle like this, and then I went ahead to sew it together. So I'm going to show you one more time. Place your bias strip against each other like so, and then sew it, and that way you will have it one long extending bias strip. So go ahead and do that for all your bias strips. Now after joining all my strips together, that's what it looks like. I'm going to start at the back, and then I'm going to make sure to pin all my allowances to one side so they're not moving about, and then I'm going to start from the back and I'm going to sew my bias in place. Now I'm not sewing this like a regular bias. I'm actually doing something called a piping method. So I first sew it on the wrong side, which is what I'm doing. And after sewing it on the wrong side all the way, you know, from the armhole area, from the back area, all the way to the end of the rope, the next thing that I do is I kind of fold it over, right? And like I said, not like regular bias, I pipe it onto it, like I bind it onto it. And I do this on the right side. And the reason why I do it on the right side is for me to have a bit more control on what I'm doing. So if you like a video showing you how to do the binding or how to do the piping, let me know. I'm happy to make a separate video for that. But like I said, go ahead and finish it off the way that you know best how to. So if it helps to bind, if it helps you use a bias the way you normally use your bias, if it helps you use the lining, go ahead and do that. Now after sewing it, this is what it looks like. On the wrong side, this is what it looks like. It's overlocked nicely, it's finished nicely. And then on the right side, this is what it looks like. Finish it off by putting a zipper. However, for this video, I'm not putting a zipper because I didn't make this blouse for anyone. I literally just made it for the mannequin or the dress form. And then go ahead and, you know, try on your dress, your blouse rather. I'm gonna make one for myself as well, but I just wanted you guys to see what it looks like on the mannequin. And like I said, I wish the rope was longer, but that was my fault. The next one I do, I'll make sure the rope is longer. But here you have it, guys. All right, guys, so after wearing this on the mannequin or on the dress form, this is what it looks like. This is the Halter Neck Blouse. Obviously with this one I used a pattern, however we're going to do another one where we don't use a pattern as well. But this is what it looks like. As you can see, you have a line down on the hips, really nice. It fits across the bust. Again, you have to remember that this isn't ironed, so you just give it a nice good steam iron. But this is what it looks like on the dress form. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching to the very end. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was worth your while. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to leave your comments in the description box. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. This is what the Halter Neck Blouse looks like. It's a V-neck one. And again, if you want to do something like this, I might suggest that, you know, if possible, maybe line it might be easier. However, I didn't want to line it, so I just kind of piped the ends. But you know, whether you want to pipe it or line it is entirely up to you. And again, if you want the one where it's like free, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to do a video of the freestyle one. Thank you and bye.